how to graph a function that's written in standard form. Standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are the coefficients and constants, the numbers in the problem. A is the number in front of x squared, b is the number in front of x, and c is the constant, the number without a variable at the end. There's a formula you need for graphing where it determines the axis of symmetry, the line that cuts the parabola in half. So if we have a parabola, the axis of symmetry is the vertical line that cuts the parabola in half. And the vertex, the point in the middle, is a point on that line. So this formula, negative b over 2a, allows you to find the x value of the vertex and the axis of symmetry. So let's look at this first problem here. Y equals x squared plus 2x plus 3. The a is the number with the x squared. If there's not a number in front of x squared, that means you're multiplying by 1. The b is the number including the sign in front of the x. So here b equals 2. And the c is the constant, the number without a variable. So the c value is 3. So let's use that formula to find the axis of symmetry. X equals negative b over 2a. Negative b means to do the opposite sign of whatever your b value is. So in this case, our b value is positive 2, and the opposite of that is negative 2. And then 2 times a is 2 times your a value. Since our a value is 1, 2 times 1 is 2. And when we divide negative 2 by 2, we get negative 1. So now we know that the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 1. And then that also tells me the x value of the vertex. And remember, the vertex is the point in the middle of the parabola. So if we went ahead and we sketched a graph, if we went ahead and tried to sketch a graph here of our parabola, we would know that the axis of symmetry is along the x equals negative 1. That's the middle of the parabola. Now we know that our vertex is somewhere on that dotted line. Now we just need to figure out the y value of the vertex. And we do that by substituting our x value into our equation. So we have x squared plus 2x plus 3. Let's substitute negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. Plus 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Plus 3. So 1 minus 2, or 1 plus negative 2, is negative 1. And negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So we just found that the vertex is negative 1, 2. Now we can, so we found the vertex and we found the axis of symmetry. The domain is always negative infinity to positive infinity, or all real numbers. The range is dependent on if the parabola opens up or down. And we know if the parabola opens up or down by looking at the a value. If the a value is positive, then we're going to have, if the a value is greater than 0, meaning a positive a, that means the parabola is going to open up. If the a value is less than 0, or a negative number, then the parabola opens down. So we know our vertex is negative 1, 2. And we know that our parabola opens up because we have a positive a value. Now we just need to find our y-intercept. And we find our y-intercept by substituting x with 0. So when we do that in this equation, 0 squared is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 0 plus 3 is 3. So our y-intercept is 0, comma 3. So we can go ahead and plot that point on our graph. So now we know that 0, 3 is the y-intercept, which is over 1, up 1 from the vertex. And since the axis of symmetry cuts the parabola in half, we can do the same thing on the other side, over 1, up 1. Now we have sketched the graph of this parabola using the vertex, y-intercept, and axis of symmetry. We notice that it doesn't cross the x-axis, so there's no x-intercepts. And the range on the y-axis, the range is y. The lowest number is 2, so the range is all y values greater than or equal to 2. That can also be written as 2, comma, infinity, since it opens up. It's 2 to infinity. Let's do another example. So first thing, determine what the a value is. The a value is 3. What's the b value? Including the sign, the b value is negative 12, and the c value is 10. So when it's in standard form, the first thing we want to do is negative b divided by 2a to find the x value of the vertex and the axis of symmetry. Negative b means do the opposite of b. Since b is a negative, the opposite of that is a positive. So positive 12 divided by 2 times a, 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So I know the axis of symmetry is x equals 2, and I know that the vertex has an x value at 2. I need to plug 2 in for x to find the y value of the vertex. When I plug 2 in for x, 3 times 2 squared, exponents come first, 3 times 4 is 12. Minus 12 times 2, 12 times 2 is 24, so minus 24, and then plus 10 at the end. So all I did was plug in 2 for x in my equation. 12 minus 24 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 10 is negative 2. So my vertex is 2, negative 2. Now let's find the y-intercept. We know the y-intercept has an x value of 0 because it's on the y-axis. So when we plug in 0 for x, we get 3 times 0 is 0, 12 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 10 is 10. So 0, 10 is the y-intercept. And then looking at the a value, we know that the a value is positive, so the parabola opens up. So let's see if we can sketch a graph. We have 2, negative 2 is our vertex. The axis of symmetry is the line in middle. 0, 10 is our y-intercept. And then we can put on the other side of the line in the middle, since 0, 10 is 2 away from the axis of symmetry, there's another point here that's 2 away. So now we have sketched our parabola. Notice that because the a value is bigger than 1, this parabola is more narrow than the traditional parent function of x squared. So that's how to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the y-intercept, and sketch a graph of the parabola. We can estimate that our x-intercepts are around 1 and somewhere in between 2, maybe 3. 1 and 3 if we're just doing an estimate there.